This isn't opinion. This is the top 10 greatest college football teams of all time by the numbers. Starting at number 10, we go back to 2004 with a score of 139.65. The USC Trojans finished the season 13-0 and had a point differential of 25.2. At number 9, it's 2022's Georgia Bulldogs. With a score of 143.00, they finished the season 15-0 with a point differential of 26.8. At number 8, 2019, LSU Tigers with a score of 143.41. They finished the season 15-0 with a point diff of 26.5. At number 7, 2025, the Indiana Hoosiers, earning a score of 149.42. They finished the season as the only team to ever go 16-0 and had a staggering point differential of 31.5. At number 6, 2005, Texas Longhorns, 152.30 score, capped off a perfect 13-0 season with a 33.8 point differential. Okay, before I unveil the top 5, I wanted to make it clear how I came to this conclusion, how I came to these scores. To me, there's really just 3 critical components when you are judging a team sport like this. It is who you beat, how badly did you beat them, and where did you beat them. So I needed a strength of schedule component, I needed to sprinkle in home and away, and I also needed to make sure we considered point differential. So to start the process, I started off with just 25 teams. The criteria that I thought would best fit the stage to be the greatest of all time team was an undefeated season. So you had to be undefeated and you had to finish as the national champions. For that, especially back in the day, we had some co-champions and things like that. I just went with the AP. So you had to be the AP number 1 team and undefeated at the end of the season. So with that as my baseline, then I went to the metrics. I started with SRS, which really combines everything that I talked about. It has a home and away component, it has a strength of schedule, and of course it includes point differential. To be a dominant team, you have to beat your opponents badly, in my opinion, so I doubled down on that point diff. And finally, I took into consideration wins. We've had some national champions that went 12-0, and then we had Indiana that went 16-0. To me, it's a lot more difficult to go 16-0 than it is 12-0, so you did get a bump for the amount of games won. So with all that in the mix, I normalized the data, I ran the formula, and these are the teams that we got. So without further ado, let's go on to the top 5. At number 5, we go to 2018, achieving a score of 154.09. The Clemson Tigers finished their season 15-0. and hit an outstanding point differential of 31.2. At number 4, 2001 Miami Hurricanes, 154.84. They finished the season 12-0 and racked up a dominant point diff of 33.8 points per game. At number 3, 2013 Florida State Seminoles, 159.01. They went 14-0 and beat down teams by an average of 39.5 points per game. At number 2, you know they had to be in the list somewhere, 2020's Alabama Crimson Tide, 159.62, 13-0, defeated opponents by an average margin of 29.1. And then finally, who was the greatest college football team of all time? We go back to 1995 with a whopping score of 166.19. The Nebraska Cornhuskers finished the season, the most dominant season in college football history according to the data, 12-0 with a point diff of 38.8 points per game. So what did you think of our top 10 greatest college football teams of all time according to the data? It is not my opinion. If you want my opinion, look down in the top pinned comment. I listed who I thought were the top 5 greatest college football teams of all time. But again, that is using personal bias. And if you want to know who just missed the cut, who was the 11th team that would have made this list, it is the 2023 Michigan Wolverines, and they missed by just 0.48. And if you're interested on who finished at the very bottom of our 25 teams that were eligible for the GOAT, it was the 2002 Ohio State Buckeyes. And just a couple quick notes about some of these teams. The LSU Tigers are the highest scoring team of all time in terms of total points. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes are the greatest defense on this list, only giving up 9.4 points per game. The 1995 Nebraska Cornhuskers were also the highest scoring team of all time, fitting into this criteria, of course, averaging 52.4 points per game. And if you didn't catch it, the greatest point differential per game was also the 2013 Florida State Seminoles at 39.5 points per game. And I did want to finish on this as well. I use sportsreference.com for all of the data. Oddly enough, you would think in terms of college football, I mean, you have scores, you have differentials, yards per game, etc. It's pretty static data that you wouldn't see any conflict, but I went to a couple different sites and there were some things that were off a little bit, like point differentials were skewed here and there. It didn't really make sense to me. I'm not sure how that came to be, but I just stuck with sportsreference.com for all of my data.